Okay, I'm going to show you how to install and use the MTS trend indicator. So you right click, go to indicators, pan down until you find the indicator you're looking for. In this case, we're going to put in the MTS trend. You're going to double click on it 3 times in this case. Um, yeah, basically, we're going to create vertical lines of different colors for each Midas curve that's launched. And so you want to go ahead and install the trend 3 times, and then we're going to look at the parameters for each one of these. So the default setting is blue, and we want to go ahead and change them. So I'm going to change it to, you can use whatever color you want. I'm going to use red for one of them. I'm going to go ahead and select the next indicator. As you can see, the default is blue again, as would be defined by default. And then we're going to use lime for the second one. And the first one, we're going to go ahead and leave blue. Click OK. And now you can see we have this vertical line showing up here. There's actually 3 stacked on top of each other. There's also 6 dots that are stacked. So the first ones are red. Okay, you guys, here we have a launch point at this pivot high. We've calibrated this upper channel line to this pivot high here. It would have actually started off more like something in this area. Once we had a break above it and then got back below it, we can go ahead and change the channel calibration to the high of this test up. And then we also have our low calibrated in this area right here. And what we've just added into this indicator is the ability to launch additional iterations of the primary channel line. It's a nice feature to have, particularly in this case, like right here. We might have moved this point to here, but we wouldn't then have realized that this original launch was providing some nice resistance as price moved down. So leaving this line in place is kind of nice visually. So we could have launched this initially from right here to give us a little bit of additional information. So if we had shorted this resistance, this next channel line is going to be a really nice first target zone, and possibly just an exit zone in this case. Once this penetrated through it and then made it back above it, we can then go ahead and move the launch point to the low of that test, which then you can see was a much better fit for this next move down. And then it's providing support in here, and we might anticipate, if we were buying this, we would be looking to here and then to here for our next potential targets on our trade. Another helpful feature is having multiple Midas curves. In this case, we tested this area, which is actually a support from a launch from this point. For the sake of demo. Right, so we're testing into that. We break above it, launch another curve, and you can see we're holding support really nicely through there. If I calibrate this upper curve, it's providing a nice window to potentially get short or to exit a long position up in this area. And then it's not really necessary in this case to add another Midas curve, because these curves are still providing support and resistance. We get back below this and you can see the red curve is providing just perfect resistance. The blue curve, we're actually getting below it, and so it's actually providing resistance in here all along this area as well. But if we wanted to, we could go ahead and launch a third curve, and that actually is helping further define these moves up into sort of this resistance area. Each one of these curves, you can launch an additional lower and upper channel curves if that's makes sense to do on the price action that you happen to be looking at. That pretty well explains the Midas curve. One thing that is worth noting is that you can also press F7 and add in a vertical line. It doesn't really matter when you're this close to the edge of the price action, but if you're 2 days back, these curves are not going to be convenient to grab and pull over. So you'll want to hit F7. We are going to be making some modifications to make that whole process a little easier. For now, if you do that, you have to actually manually change the color. So, if you wanted this to be a red curve, you would have to double click on it, go up, change the color manually. And you can see when you have two red launches on your chart, the second one's going to interrupt the first one. You can see it just sort of changes where the termination point of the initial launch and of all of the channel lines as well as the primary curve. If you don't want that to occur, then I've already showed you, you just use a different color. So if you've hit F7 and you want this to be a different color again, you just go ahead and make your selection. And then it won't interfere with it. The same goes for the dots and the diamonds. So you'll have to add a dot. To add a dot, it's Alt F6. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and add one. Okay, and you can see it grabs onto that. If you want the start point to be further back, but you want it to be calibrated to the high of that bar, you can just drag the dot to the left and move it up and down until this point matches. Now, if you want to have a second one above it, you're going to have to do Alt F5 and then change the color of that diamond, which the default is red, so it just appeared that way, but you just double click, same process on the diamonds for your upper and lower channel areas. I think that pretty well covers the basics on this indicator, and I'll be updating this video.